All are welcome here at Reverend Christian Sorensen's weekly Joyous Series podcast here at www.joyouspodcast.com. As a reminder, January 12th, 2016 is the start of the Foundation of the Science of Mind class with Dr. Christian Sorensen. And for the first time, you can take the course live online. Just visit www.seasidecenter.org/education to find out more. Today's message was recorded January 3rd, 2016, titled Begin Again, presented by Reverend Kathy Hearn while Reverend Christian is away with family. Also check out Reverend Hearn's upcoming classes, which start January 7th, with more information also found at www.seasidecenter.org/education. And you can always join us in Encinitas, California sometime, where great music, a spirited message, and a joyful, loving community await you.
Feel the joy, feel the peace, and the comfort of home, 'cause all are welcome here. Yes, all are welcome here.
I'm Reverend Kathy Hearn, and I'm here as Christian's stand-in today. I think he's in Montana with his wonderful family. Let's say hi, Christian, in case he's watching and listening. I have the great honor of being a staff minister here at Seaside, and I'm also the dean of the School of Spiritual Leadership, which is our ministerial training program. And so if you're getting a nudge about deepening on your path of spiritual service, you come talk to me, okay? And I'll tell you why it's such a great idea. So I welcome all of you here today. We welcome you into this experience of Seaside, which is a loving, open, spirit-based community. And everything here is available to you. And if there's any kind of support that you need, just let us know, because we would love to support you, and our licensed practitioners do that. And maybe let Seaside be your spiritual community for this year in a beautiful and a deepening way, because it is a good place to be. Absolutely. Yay. So again, Happy New Year, and I'm delighted to be here with you and to start this new year, this first Sunday with you. And the talk for today, as you can see, is Begin Again. I think it's up there. And as I was preparing for this talk, I was thinking about a book that I read a long time ago before I had any experience with meditation. And it's a book called Back to One. And I think it's actually for therapists. I have to check it out now, because actually I only read the first chapter, and it was a long time ago. And it started with a breathing practice, a breathing meditation practice. And in the practice, you get quiet and you go within, and you begin to give full attention to your breath, so that the only thing that's going on for you is your breath, breathing all the way to the top of your inhale and then all the way to the bottom of the exhale. And you begin to count the breaths on the inhale. So it'd be 1, 2, and on through 10, and then you start over again. And it's a great practice for actually coming to the present moment, because whenever we give our attention to our breath, we actually arrive in the present moment, which is where we all are all the time. We actually are all the time, but usually our minds have us in another place. Have you noticed that? So it's a great practice, many of you know this already, for developing present moment awareness and becoming centered. But what I loved was the practice inside the practice. And the practice inside the practice is that if somewhere along the line you lose attention or mess up on the numbers because you forget which one you're on, or somehow falter in the practice, it's about going back to one. That you just stop. No shame, no blame. You just go back to one and start all over again. And you can see that it might actually take a long time to get to 10 breaths altogether. And there's something about that has stayed with me as a compelling idea. And what it reminds me of, first of all, is that life is practice. That if we're going to live a conscious life, a spiritual life, we're going to be engaged in spiritual practice, where we are consciously practicing the consciousness that we want to establish within ourselves. We're consciously practicing the kind of person that we want to be and contribute to the world. We're consciously practicing the kinds of words that we say that are uplifting and helpful. We're practicing telling the truth, feeling our feelings. This is just on my list. I know that you have your own. Telling the truth, feeling feelings, bringing order and balance to finances. That's for any financial freedom students out there. Order and balance to finance, practicing being loving. In other words, practicing being who we've come here to be, practicing what is most important to us. Life is practice. But the breathing meditation also reminds me that whenever we falter or fail or slip from our practice, no shame, no blame, we just get to go back to the practice. Does that make sense to you? That we waste an awful lot of time making ourselves wrong for the mistakes that we make. And the Buddha once said, I've quoted this for years, I love it, it doesn't matter how long you forget, only how quickly you remember. So let's say this as an affirmation. It doesn't matter how long I forget. All together now. Only how quickly I remember. Let's say it one more time. It doesn't matter how long I forget, only how quickly I remember. Because life is practice, and faltering is inevitable, because that's how we learn. And it's how we develop strength of character and motivation and dedication. And we just go back to the beginning. We begin again. And so I think about that as at the new year, because we just crossed the threshold, as you know, into a brand new year. And in a way, it doesn't matter what 2015 was, because it's over. Yeah, some people are happy about that. I had a pretty good year, not dramatic, really, so that was good. And no matter what it was, if we did accomplished everything we wanted to, or we faltered in some way, what counts is that we begin again now with what it is that we wish to practice, that we wish to be a part of. And as we cross the threshold in this new year, the energy of newness is still with us. We're 3 days in. The energy of newness is with us. Things seem hopeful and happy. They're fresh. There's a spaciousness because we haven't, chances are not all of us anyway, have started seriously back to work. Tomorrow is the day. And in the beginning of a new year, there's always the promise. We sense the promise of greater things. And one of the most important ways to actually welcome in something greater is to fully let go of what it is that came before. And so it's been traditional for me when I do these first Sunday of the month talks here at Seaside to, at the end of the talk, have us acknowledge and honor the 4 directions, actually the 7 directions. And instead of ending the talk with that this day, and that's a way of honoring this new year, or the old year, sorry, I'd like to begin with it. Okay, you game? For a little ritual and ceremony? I think you'll like it. All 20 of you said yes. That was great. Okay, so please stand up and turn to the east. And before we begin, I open up this ritual, this sacred time and sacred space, knowing we open up all of the directions which we live in all the time anyway. And we do this ritual as a way to honor 2015 and to bless it and release it as complete. And so as we stand here in the east direction, this is the direction of brand new beginnings. It symbolizes the spring. And so I invite you to feel in your heart and remember the things that took birth in your life this year, where there was a beginning. The beginning of a relationship, the beginning of a greater experience of love, the birth of a child, a new business, a new location, a new possibility, a new idea. Whatever it might be, just a new relationship with yourself. Take a moment to honor the beginnings in this springtime quadrant of your life. And honor the power of new beginnings. And if you like, just take a moment and bow to the east. And take a quarter turn to the right, so you'll be facing me. Up here, I'm going to stay facing you. And you are in the south direction at this moment. And this is the place of things growing to fullness. So something or many things in your life that had their birth at another time grew to fullness this year. Maybe it was the fullness of love in a relationship, or the maxing of a new level of self-esteem or self-confidence, or just a growth in the way in which you've extended yourself in the world this year. Take a moment to acknowledge the things that have grown to a greater degree of fullness and honor the power of growing. And take a bow to the south. And turning now in the west direction. The south is the summer, by the way, and the west is fall. And there are two things that happen in the fall. We release or cut away what no longer serves, and then we call to our hearts a greater good. We harvest. And so let's do the first part first. Take a moment to think about what it is that you released this year. It might be a person, a place, a thing, an attitude, a habit, a way of being. There's always sorrow in the releasing, and yet it was important to do so. And so I invite you to hold your hands out like an offering bowl and imagine the thing that you've released has already been lifted to the universe. But see if there is something else, some act of release that is incomplete. And see that thing, that attitude, that habit, whatever it might be, or even that person in your hands right now, honoring and blessing the role of it in your life, and yet knowing full well that the time for release is at hand. And I invite you to lift your hands in an offering this back to the universe from which it came to begin with. And now with hands open, I invite you to think about a greater good that you are willing to receive from or create within yourself for this new year. And see that greater good in your hands. And now bring your hands to your heart center and hold them there. And take a bow to the west. And taking a quarter turn to the right. So you're facing the north direction. This is the quadrant that we're in now for winter. And that greater good, that new thing that you're holding in your heart, just know that in this winter season, the depths of your being are already nurturing it. Like a divine idea in the womb of creation, or like crystal seeds of good lying under the snow. And so know, just in the great mystery of all things, this greater good is already being worked on in some powerful way, and it will have its time of coming forth in the springtime, the next springtime of your life. And so take a bow to the north. Now reach your left arm up, way high, up to the cosmos, to the cosmic reality of life itself, just connecting there in this infinite cosmic beingness that we call life. And bring that down to your heart center. And take a breath as you receive it there, knowing that you are a cosmic being, that you have been birthed by the universe itself. As the old song says, you're stardust and you're golden. And now reach down if you can to touch the floor representing the earth, or tap your foot and bring the energies and the blessings of Mother Earth to your heart center. Knowing that this big, beautiful blue planet of ours is the place where everything that is wonderful about our life plays out. And also the challenges and the dramas too. What an amazing thing. So blessing and thanking Mother Earth for all the many blessings of air and earth and sky and sun and rain and ocean and mountains and people and love and friends and food, all good things. Take a bow now. And the next direction is within. So as you hold your hands on your heart, you take a moment to acknowledge yourself for being a being who has lived another year. Willing, courageous, to keep walking step by step, going for it, as we like to say. And so in this moment, I give thanks for the safety and guidance of this year that has brought us to this room today. We honor and thank all the people and players and things of 2015 for our awakening and our growth, calling it all good, even in the moments when it didn't look that way, and knowing that we are blessed, that the ceiling that we reach for is now the floor that we stand on as we journey into what is next. And so giving thanks for 2015, we call it complete, and together we say, and so it is. Amen. And so I invite you to very gently sit down. And so we begin again. We begin again. Back to one. Back to 2016. And as Reverend Debbie read in that reading from 365 Tao, as we begin, all signs are auspicious. Auspicious is such a great word. It means favorable, fortunate, positive, those kinds of things. Those are my versions of it that I like. And as we begin, everything is contained within the moment of beginning, all of our faith and optimism. And I love that the reading used the word innocence as well, because we are like the journey stepping off into newness, and it feels innocent and good and fun. And yet what's important for us is that we must make a commitment. And in Taoist language, it's the commitment to self-cultivation. We might say it's the commitment to spiritual practice. It's the commitment to being the person we came here to be. It's the commitment to being who we truly are, to practice the divine truth of our being, and to do that not only for ourselves, but as a great blessing to the world. And the promise is that once we make the commitment, everything will be given to us. Because it's in the making of the commitment that we push life to respond to us according to, in correspondence with, our dominant thinking. Life responds to us by corresponding to our most dominant and powerful thoughts. And so when we make a commitment to our good and to our practice, we support life in responding to us in kind. So here's a spiritual truth, at least it's a spiritual truth for me, that I would like to share with you. And that is that the great good of God has already been given. And if the word God is not working for you, use life or spirit or universe. So the great good has already been given. It's every good thing that can exist does already exist, sometimes in the invisible and sometimes in the visible. Whatever is has already been given. And the divine reality has gone before us already through this year to open the way for us. And so when we begin to practice what is the next level of our good, to be committed and in devotion to practice all of the things that are most important to us, we actually align with that divine reality and invite it into our life experience. I like those ideas. And as the reading said, even the mountains, even the mountains and the valleys will reverberate to the sound of our purpose. Yeah. And the truth is, we each have to make a decision for ourselves. We each have to decide what it is that we're going to practice. No one can do it for us. They've tried, right? How well did that work? And we've tried to decide for them, and that didn't work very well either. So we each have to decide what it is that we will practice. One of the most core teachings, basic teachings that we have, is that at the deepest level of our being, we are utterly whole. And that's with a capital W. That wholeness is the essence and truth of our being, nothing broken, nothing missing. Say that with me. Nothing broken, nothing missing. And this year is an amazing opportunity to take the next step in the expression of the wholeness that is already the truth of you, and the year is the platform or the grand stage, you could say, in which you are invited to do that very thing, to step forward with a greater expression of your wholeness, more loving, more free. What else? More abundant, more joyful. Whatever is the next expression, that is yours to do. Clarissa Pinkola Estes has a wonderful quotation, and this gets into how we do it not only for ourselves and all our full self-expression, but when we express our wholeness, we make a great contribution to the world because we offer that to the world. And she said, ours is not the task of fixing the entire world at once, but of stretching out to mend the part of the world that is within our reach. Ours is not the task of fixing the entire world at once. That's kind of a relief, isn't it? But of stretching out to mend the part of the world that is within our reach. So guess which part of the world is most immediately in your reach? The within, right? The deep within. And so what we work there, we offer as a great gift to the rest of the world. So I want to give you some practical things to do, along with the spiritual ideas here, and to offer you 3 questions for you to contemplate, and then some writing, a writing exercise. And Steve was nice enough to create slides for us today. This downloaded in my shower this morning. So I'll tell you what the 3 questions are and then discuss them a little bit, and then we'll talk about the writing exercise. So your first question for contemplation is, what do I want? That's actually a really deep question. The second one is, do I truly intend what I say I want? And the third one is, if so, what must I practice? So what do I want? Do I truly intend what I say I want? That's really important too. And if so, what must I practice? So what do I want? What I suggest that you do is to create time today. Today would be good because the newness is starting to close just a little bit. We're starting to be used to a new year. And to sit down, either with your laptop, your computer, light a candle, or write, if you would prefer to use paper, and just begin to go into your heart center and say, what do I want? And this is, well, another phrase for it might be, to what is my soul calling me? But I like the basics of what do I want? And actually work with the words so that the words that you write down or type into your computer are actually really specific and really true. This is what I want. I want to. Now you want to resist saying, I want so-and-so to do such and such. This is not about anybody but you. But you could say, I want to experience whatever you think that person might do for you. I don't know if he or she will. You get what I'm saying? This is about your experience. I want to. I'll share one of my non-revealing ones. Well, I guess a little revealing because it's about my home. So I want to clear my home of things I do not love and do not use. Okay? So that's a true want to for me. But this is a subtle and deep question to do, and it's important to do the work and let them be true statements, not somebody else's idea for you, not a should about what you want, but what is actually truly there in your heart. So that's number 1. And then you look at that list and say, do I truly intend to have happen or experience what I say I want? And I really want to encourage you to tell yourself the truth about this, because if you don't truly intend it, first of all, it isn't going to happen. And intending means you will do what it takes to welcome it in. And we end up with false lists because we don't truly intend to have the things happen. We have more the level of lip service about it. So it would be far better to have one true intention that you absolutely will let guide your life and do what it takes to realize that intention this year. One true intention rather than a whole list of them that you don't really intend to do. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes. Thank you. Thanks for the one person who answered. Okay? And then, no, that's fine. And then after that flows, and here's what I will practice. Your true intentions give you the sense of what it is that you will practice. So now we're ready for the second slide. So after you've done those things, if you will go, this is the third iteration of your list. Change your, write, I want to. And so you'll go over your list. You'll actually be, I guess you sort of did that, I want to. And then change those into I intend to, the true intentions. And then your true intentions will show you what your practices are. And you change the statement to an I am statement with an ing verb. For example, I want to clear my house of things I do not love and do not use. I intend, and I do, I intend to clear my house of things I do not love and do not use. And my practice is I am clearing my house of things I do not love and do not do. See how it comes into present tense right away in terms of a practice. I actually started a little bit last night. Okay, so it becomes something that guides your activity throughout the year. Okay, you understand? Practical. All right. By the way, another Clarissa Pinkola Estes quotation, she said, one of the best ways to connect with your wild nature is to ask yourself, what do I want? And the minute we ask ourselves, what do I want, we actually put ourselves into a science of mind kind of place where we are beginning to conceive of a greater good than what we have. And we do not welcome in a greater good until we have a concept of it. And so that question, what do I want, is very important. And then what do I intend and what do I need to practice? And I invite you to take the last one, the I am and ing verb forms, and write them down and stick them up on your mirror in the bathroom and read them every day. And you will find yourself beginning to do those things that you are seeking to be in alignment with. All right. As an aside, or just another thought, another couple of questions that would be good to ask is, what are the conversations I need to stop having? Yeah, what are the conversations that are over and done for me now? Conversations about self, conversations in self, conversations with other people, conversations with self about self, conversations with other people about other people, conversations that really are old and boring and go absolutely nowhere. And as we keep repeating them, because the word we speak is the law of our life. And so when we keep giving lip service and talk time to things, we actually consolidate conditions around us. So what are the conversations that need to stop? And what are the conversations that you need to start having? Conversations of love, of truth, of forgiveness, whatever it might be. That's for your contemplation. And the practice is, if you falter or fail in any way, guess what you do? You begin again. You begin again. No shame, no blame. I'm getting back on the horse of that practice. I begin again. All right. So what really counts for us is devotion to our path. And devotion isn't a word that we use so often in our study. And yet I think it's a mixture of heart and commitment, deep devotion to something. Commitment to your path, commitment to your heart's desire, commitment to your intention, commitment to your practice. These things are important. Devotion to all of them. And so I want to share with you from 365 Tao the reading for today, January 3rd, and it's all about devotion. It says this: make the crooked straight, make the straight to flow. Gather water, fire, and light. Bring the world to a single point. If we have devotion, total faith and commitment to our spiritual path, our determination will naturally build momentum. Fewer and fewer obstructions will come before us. Our path becomes like a crooked one made straight. And no matter what tries to keep us from our purpose, we will not be deterred. Proper devotion lies not simply in a headlong course. It also requires fortitude. Our bodies, our hearts, and our spirits must be totally concentrated upon what we want. I'll read that line again. Our bodies, our hearts, and our spirits must be totally concentrated upon what we want. Only by uniting all our inner elements can we have full devotion. If we see our path clearly and our personalities are completely unified, then there is no distinction between the outer world and the inner one. Nothing is far away anymore. Nothing is not open to us. That is why it is said that the world is like a single point. So strong is devotion that there is nothing that is not a part of it. Whatever we give our attention to, whatever we focus on, whatever we intend, whatever we practice, whatever we devote ourselves to, those are the things that we will bring into being throughout this year. Those are the things that when you bow to the directions next year, those will be the things that you will be honoring and acknowledging. So I wanted to move to completion here by sharing with you a statement of devotion from Ernest Holmes, and this is from the book The Pathway of Discovery. And if you're new, Ernest Holmes is the founder of Science of Mind. He says, our time should be devoted to knowing the truth that sets humanity free from the problem of ignorance. That truth which alone can bring enlightenment to the world. That war should cease and that people should live together in harmony because they have recognized the divinity within each other. So I'll read it again. Our time should be devoted to knowing the truth that sets humanity free from the problem of ignorance. That truth which alone can bring enlightenment to the world. That war should cease and that people should live together in harmony because they have recognized the divinity within each other. Many of us have been wanting and working for this for a long time, yes? Wanting and working for peace, peace in our hearts, peace in our families, peace in our world, wanting and working on seeing the divinity of those around us, even when they make it really difficult. Right? Working for a very, very long time. And there are things that have been taking place in our world, well, actually always, but especially of late, that I think can cause us for a moment to wonder, is it worth it? Can we do it? Can we do it? All I know is that as we stay devoted to our highest ideas, as we practice our principles, as we work on being the people we want to be, as we bring forth the highest and best that we have as a gift and an offering to the world, this is what, in fact, counts. This is, in fact, what counts. And so, we begin again. Thank you so much.
Such a long way home from where you have been. And what will it take to bring you back again? And all your searching's brought you to this place. You cry for mercy and you long for grace. Feel the love, feel the light. Won't you come in from the cold? 'Cause all are welcome here. Feel the joy, feel the peace, and the comfort of home. 'Cause all are welcome Yes, all are welcome here. Behold the love. Behold the light in your mind, in your heart, in your soul. And all your searchings brought you to this place. You cry for mercy and you long for grace. Feel the love, feel the light. Won't you come in from the cold? 'Cause all are welcome here. Feel the joy, yes, all are welcome here.
All Are Welcome Here, from the album Path of Light, was co-written by Peggy Lebo and Reverend Christian Sorensen. It's available at www.peggylebo.com.